Welcome, my friends, this is Maniacal Incorporated, and you join me in the midst of yet another disastrous French campaign in my historically accurate Munster playthrough in the Tip Volume 2 mod. So we've been dragged into a war by one of our daughter's father-in-laws. Well, our daughter's only father-in-law. The King of France. He gained the title through an abdication. So somebody abdicated and he became King of France, because I wasn't expecting that. I thought he only controlled a duchy, but a lot of people have now risen up to overthrow him. We're helping. Suffered a couple of defeats in the last episode. We're trying to siege down an area. Our army is nowhere near up to spec to fight a war of this scale or this type. Maybe it will encourage us to reorganize the army, get some money together and reorganize the army in the years ahead. At the moment, we are waiting for the next lifestyle focus, and then we're going to switch. We're going to switch from that tree. We're going to go off in a different direction, going down the seducer tree at the moment. But for now, what we're going to do is just focus on keeping somebody alive to return home to the Kingdom of Ireland. Now, I say the Kingdom of Ireland, but of course that doesn't exist at the moment. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. We could go for fertility plus 30%. Or we could go for the fabricate hook scheme. You can tell the direction that we're going to be going down. We will focus on, we could go for stewardship. We'll go for that monthly income bonus, and we'll come down a bit of the avaricious tree. And it's been a good moneymaker for us. I was going to send our spy master, who does not like us at the moment, to England. Do you know what? We'll send him to Scotland. We'll send him to Scotland. So Upmaron, who we're trying to sway at the moment, because he does not like us. It's going to be 2 years before he has found secrets in the court. That is a lengthy period of time. Let's just check if another court will give us something different. Let's send him to England. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. We are seeing that France is about to be hit by, I think it's an army of Flanders, or else they're going to get to us. We're basically trying to get out, and France has decided that it's going in against a different army. Do you know what? I actually don't know who half these armies are, so we're going to wander in towards the end of the battle. We got something done. So that was actually Flanders' army that we went in against, and Lower Lorraine very nearly hit us. I'm not too sure what direction France is actually travelling in. They might be just doing a runner. And if they are, possibly we should think about doing the same thing. Where are they going? I think we're in a bit of trouble. We have some armies coming up against us. They could very well hit us. They're not going to. They're going to continue sieging down various different areas. I think this might be our son-in-law. He's a courtier married to a distant, married to our cousin. He's after getting himself maimed. I've put our marshal, Earl Fergus, training at the moment. You know what? That might not be a great idea with his martial skill. We might actually have to remove him from that position, especially if he's going to be wounding people. France's army is taken off. We kind of want to stay close to France's army, and we want to keep them away from here. You can see why. I'd say we might be in a bit of trouble. I'd say we're in a bit of trouble. Oh, we just got hit, and this could be the end of our trip to France. Mordo maimed somebody. Fair play to him. Thuhel was wounded, one of our new knights, so it's another defeat for poor old Ireland. And Upmaron, our spy master, has been captured. This is now turning into a disastrous combat here. France took off. I'm not actually too sure where France went to. We provided a distraction. And that is 1 defeat. I imagine that there's going to be at least 2 defeats for France here. So our defeat there actually contributing to the loss of that war. And Upper Lorraine has rejoined. They're now actually joining... That was Upper Lorraine has joined us. It was Lower Lorraine we were just fighting. These Lorraines, lads. The only good news is that O'Moroin was actually released straight away. Owen Lurk, who has been wounded, or who was wounded a long time ago, I believe, but he's died of natural causes. He's been gone from the army with quite a while. So, Murdo, wounded. Count Albrecht of Medina, if I am correct. There's Tuchel is wounded. Another one of our top knights has been wounded, so it's a fairly costly battle for us at the moment. But of course, if we see Owen's kill list, killed a figure that would have been our predecessor's son-in-law in that epic battle against man, there is a second battle lost, and I think a lot has gone on up in this region. What's he now? He is now the Duke of... Or it was, we lost to the Duke of Normandy, so the king has been deposed. And he is unlanded. Well, what a disaster. Okay, well, it mightn't be the worst disaster. It's terrible for France. Dear God, it's terrible for France. But the new ruler of France is our son-in-law. So maybe it's not the worst. We're marching the shattered remnants of our army in this region under the command of the only person who seems to know the front end of a sword from the back end. The new ruler of Munster himself, our spy master, has discovered some secrets. They might be of use to us later on. France's army is actually going in against Flanders itself. We're going to just park ourselves here and see if we can siege down some areas. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. We're being called in Britain's claim. So this would have been our brother-in-law if it hadn't been for the fact that he executed our cousin. How's he our brother-in-law? Is he... How the hell is he our brother-in-law? So here is our wife. The daughter of the... Was she the Duchess of Shrewsbury? Here is her brother. So here is our wife's sister, who is married to the Duke of Brittany, who executed our cousin for having an affair with one of our knights. Oh, lads. Here we have the daughter of one of our uncle's previous physicians, a very high-ranking physician who did mighty work, and we are educating her at the moment. She is brave, but she has the rowdy trait, and we are educating her. Arthur is educating her in the way of intrigue. We could tell her to never back down. She's just picked up brave. She could remain calm or become zealous. I don't think we're going to be in a position to actually change anything, because we are on the verge of a mental breakdown. So calm would probably be the best, but we'll leave her as brave. And we're seeing some more craziness. I actually thought this was the Duke of Brittany for a moment, but it's not. It's our brother-in-law. Our 16-year-old brother-in-law is after dying. Who has replaced him now as the actual ruler of the duchy? It is our wife. Oh, Lord. Well, that was unexpected. He did die under mysterious circumstances. I swear it wasn't me. You have to believe me. We were just about to begin sieging down an area. I don't think we'll manage to, but let's see if we can hit that. These armies. We possibly wouldn't want to, now that they've actually joined up. We were a bit late, so we've already committed to the battle. We're going to send them in. There's 6,500 forces on the side of Brittany, so that is a bit of an issue. Here is Deirdre, or Deirdre, one of our 4 wives. Well, Martin, may God grant you long life, my son. We just missed them. We just missed them. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I am not too sure. So if we could bring one of these battles to an end, the French are indeed trying to hit them. And there is yet another war. This is what happens in France. You become involved in one war in France, and you become involved in all the wars in France. France is... oh, Lord. So we're not actually going to get in there in time. We're going to swing around and go back in this direction. We're doing a bit of a cross-country tour. Oh, France. So I'm not too sure what France's actual army is doing. We would follow them if I knew. I thought they were going to maybe try and lift this siege here. Doesn't look like it. So the capital has been sieged down by the looks of it, but thankfully they're not coming back to take the region that we are sieging. Some sieges are being placed in Flanders. If they could bring that war to an end, because that's the easiest one at the moment. Says I, who's not even helping. We're actually in a bad position. We have 6 out of 7 knights, and you can see there at the top we still have a little envelope. Oh boys, we got a spitting top. Never mind anything else. We still have a little envelope because we have not nominated a successor for the rule of Munster. Moraine has discovered more absolutely terrible and atrocious things. How useful to know. Let's see. Of our children, we have Charming. Could be a good stewardship figure. Not stewardship. Devilment figure to follow us. We'll put him on devilment. We will educate the child. So this is Murchad, and we will gift Murchad, not the potsherd, but this beautiful spinning top. There you go. Oh, what devilment is this? First of all, Mairead, the poor thing. Mordo's wife, who is now one of the best knights in the kingdom. The mother of Imag, who I believe I have married to another of our knights, Thuhel, in a matrilineal marriage. She has died. Now, Mairead and Muireann, I believe, were tied up by Diarmid and handed over to us just before Diarmid passed away. And it appears as though we were rivals. I think at one stage it was saying we were friends. I'm not too sure which you divils picked up the lover's pox. Not too sure which you divils picked up the lover's pox, but that's actually knocked some stress off of us. Died from compilations due to flagellation. I'd say you were better friends with Diarmid than you were with us. These divils, these absolute arseholes. There isn't a tremendous amount we can do at the moment. We're basically just waiting for France to finish that siege in Flanders. Hopefully that will bring one war to an end, so be it. And we've recovered our numbers up to a fairly solid number, in fairness. We might come in this direction. You can tell I'm just looking for where's the most money. And if we get you to go up there, there's a bit more there. France is heading out to sea. That's a bit worrying. And somebody has purchased a claim on an artifact. You absolute devil. I'm trying to think of the order here. Was it his father or his grandfather tried to seize Tuavuan? I have a feeling it was his grandfather. And now, the new ruler of Connacht, this young lad, Bron, he's 18, and he has decided to lay claim to the entire province of Munster. I don't even understand how he could have done that. Unless he's pushing somebody's claim. but he has a claim on the entire petty kingdom of Munster. He has 850 troops, but we can see that he actually has much stronger numbers in allies. We're depending on some allies that are not going to be in a position to come in and assist us. We've swung the army back to Ireland as quickly as possible. And not a moment too soon, not a moment too soon, we have a new lifestyle perk. We will go for that demand payment for hooks, and we are going to be getting out. We're going to be looking into the filing cabinet. France, I'll probably call France into this war. I understand that they're busy, but we have to love you and leave you. We're actually in a bad position at the moment. We don't have a lot of allies that we can call in. We've called in all of our family members who pretty much hate us. And I think they have joined. There is Abdul. And we've gotten a blackmail hook on somebody who has a good chunk of money to his name. So we'll see if we can demand a payment. Only 15. And the rest do not have great looking numbers. Yeah, we're going to have to try and blackmail as many as we can. We actually only have one more option at the moment, which is this person. She will also give us 15 quid. You know what? It's better than nothing. This poor babby in Dol Clua. Well, Patrick's child. So there is our cousin, Well Patrick, who died under mysterious circumstances at some stage. And there, that's what we were kind of worrying. Duke Whiston. Duke Whiston has joined with his quite sizable army. Connacht has gone in against Tyrconnell, who I believe has joined us. Our forces have... That's the worst thing. I didn't even spot that. Our forces did not make it out to sea. They were hit by the Duchy of Normandy just as they were trying to depart. They are now being driven further inland. An absolute disaster. An absolute disaster. We will definitely have to try and get... Oh, this is a disaster. Things are looking bad at the moment. We are going to have to hire some mercenaries. Money is tight. That is our only problem. That's going to put us in a pretty bad position. That's 270. We could get the bodyguards of Gwendolen. I think we might go for these guys instead. It will keep us out of bankruptcy for a while longer, and you can already see there our brother Abdul has been slain in battle. So that would mean that our daughter, we can't invite her to court because she'd be leaving her child. It's very close to accepting, however. Upmaron, we're doing absolutely nothing to get Upmaron swayed, so we might actually try and swear. But that alliance has now fallen apart. We didn't really have an ally with him. Our niece and granddaughter has joined in his place. We've landed our forces in Ivonia, and we're going to start sieging down this area. We have some allies in the region, and I'll just check if we have gotten anyone that actually knows how to use a siege machine. It does not look like it. It does not look like it. We have some better commanders now. We will put this other mercenary commander in charge. And we're seeing some hefty forces up there in the top right-hand corner. A new alliance has been formed into Gwynedd, the absolute devils. We were worried about that, about the Isle of Man. We're not really in a position to form any new alliances. Nobody is really interested in marrying any of our children, so we're not in a position to form any good solid alliances. And with France in the position that it's in at the moment, it can't help us. But we have a pond. We have a pond. Will anything give me money? Stop wasting my time. So Gwynedd has indeed joined the war. Our brother Faircar has married our niece. No, he's married our daughter, his niece. So that's the chance of getting an alliance from there gone. The Pope has died. Which reminds me, Benedictus the 10th has heard of our piety. I don't know who's been telling him about our piety. We're going to ask him for money. He is going to give us 158 gold, and I'd say that could very well be poured into more mercenaries. A bit of good news at the very least. We're finally in a position to call our wife, the Duchess of West Wales. We're finally in a position to call her into this war. We were in a position where we couldn't for a while, due to the fact that she was fighting some of the same people in a different war. I'm not entirely too sure what was actually going on there. So we've equaled the numbers out again a bit. I have married 2 of my children off, or we're in the process of marrying them off, to 2 inconsequential nobodies who will bring in, I think, about 500 or 600 troops in total. And we might, like I said, once that money comes in from the Pope, we might need to start looking at, at getting more mercenaries. So we have an alliance with this inconsequential nobody. Are we in a position to call him into our war? The amount of prestige that we are going to spend. And there is an alliance with Meath of all places. So Carrickfergus has been lost. We are seeing those allies joining. We've started to turn the numbers ever so slightly, and that's our problem. That is our problem, is if they hit us now at this stage before we've actually gotten everybody together, we might need to pull back. And of course, somebody has decided not to actually pull their forces out of the region. I'm trying to see what we're dealing with here. Our seneschal, Nuala, has left our court. Her husband was wounded by our marshal, and he died of his injury, so Nuala has abandoned the court. Here's Serla, a random courtier. I'm kind of caught as to what I want to do in this region. I was thinking of maybe heading for Dublin and trying to defend Dublin. I'm thinking of maybe pulling the troops back into Limerick, hiring more mercenaries, and waiting for, if they ever arrive down to us. There is a 1,200-man army up in this region. I think they might have actually gotten dragged into a battle there, but some allies that are heading down towards us. We have more allies coming in by sea. France's war is almost over. They're cheap, and we have some good advantages with bowmen, so hopefully that would help us. And we get 2 huscarls as well. Actually, we're going to hire mercenaries from the Isles. Now, our problem is, and one of the reasons that we're doing this, is because up in this region, this army of Thol-Clua is actually involved in another war, so it does not look like we are going to get any help from them. I'm trying to figure out where our forces are going. It looks like we're going to have to take what we have and march on Dublin to try and lift that siege. We have managed to bring in overwhelming numbers to start with against an army commanded by the Prince of Gwynedd. That war has ended in France, which means that we should now hopefully be in a position to call this guy, if he even has an army left, to call him into the war. We still have an advantage here. Oh, we will make these devils pay. We will make these devils pay. They caught us at a bad point in time with our armies heavily exhausted. We will make them pay. I was going to start sieging down areas, but what we can see is that some of the forces are actually retreating back to the Isle of Man. So if we can hit this kind of depleted army in Tir Connell before those Manx forces come back, or I think they might be Gwyned's forces. And of course, the other thing that we're seeing is that they've actually kept Bernica's army is off in that direction. They are joining up now. A witchcraft. Malcolm of Scotland is a witch. Well, I think we might actually have to press this button first of all. What other evils is he planning? We did indeed have to press that button first of all. We will blackmail him. We'll blackmail him anyway, but we won't be offering to take on any of his debts. We're looking at missing them at the moment. It's telling us we're in a bad position. It's telling us we're in a bad position. That is our only hassle. And here comes what's left of France. Now the fantastic thing is that Gwyned's army was actually hit. And I'm going to see if we can get one of the armies just before they get out of the range. I don't know if we're going to... It's not looking like it, no. So poor Owl France shows up. We're in a solid position at the moment. We lost that Liberty War, of course, which is why France has now joined us. If we look at the details of the Battle of Kildare, I don't think there was any actual losses on either of the sides. Thane Oscar of Thotnes, William of Westmoreland was killed by Magnus, one of our knights. Blockera, I'm not too sure. There is somebody of that name wandering around in the court, but look at these boys, oh boys, look at this down at the bottom. Down at the bottom, our wife's jester. So we've managed to deal a good chunk of damage to their forces. They are now back and regrouping. They're going out to sea. And if they start coming south along the coast, I'm divided between whether we want to stay sieging these areas or if we want to hit them while they have that disembarkation penalty. But nearly everybody is spreading out at the moment and sieging something down. Our wife has become pregnant in the midst of this war. We have our siege engineer in charge. So we're going to siege down these two areas. And then we're going to take our forces and we're going to hit them in Meath. So here is our ward. We had to leave her with the lazy trait because we're not in a position to take stress at the moment. We could get a weak hook on her, or we could grow closer to a friendship. We'll say friendship. They could very well take Meath before we have either of these other two sieges done. Breffni is the first to fall. It looks like there's an opportunity, is there, to make some money. So the hides will turn a nice profit. Bring the cleaver. So at this point in time, Arthur is willing to throw any and all economic progress out the door. France is indeed able to turn around. I was hoping that we'd actually hit some armies as they were retreating. We've gotten our forces in early. We look to have a bit of an advantage, even though we are ever so slightly outnumbered. And we're also beginning to see, I believe this is our wife's army coming in this region. 27 gold for sieging down Armagh, the holy capital of Ireland. The advantage isn't going as well as we would like. We have learned more secrets. We'll have to come back to this in a second. And I think we've had a knight lost again, and it's a hefty defeat onto Meath. They actually took, or onto Gwynedd, they actually took Meath before we could siege the area down. Lots of stuff happened there all at once. We've taken one of the enemy knights captive. And if this is what you are claiming is an enemy knight, I don't know what to say to you people. And just before we torture him, let's take a quick look at how the battle actually went. Mordo still putting in fantastic efforts. Our knight, Thohul, who's married to a member of the family, Look at this. The Duke of Normandy, who we were at war with not that long ago, fighting on our side. Constantine, who I am thinking is going to be nominated as the next in line, especially after this effort that he is putting in. I think it is very clear that Constantine is going to win a place for himself as our heir and successor. Magnus, who's been putting in great effort. Ead of the Enail, I presume coming in from Meath. Irgolach, one of our knights who is married to Emma von Verden, has been wounded. There's another Blochera, so we saw one Blochera killed in the last battle, and we see another arriving now. Fin Schnachta, Macmurcha, U Muel Shockloin. I'm trying to remember if this name has popped up in the past. I don't think so. We're seeing Andalusians coming into the battle. Here is one of our losses. So again, look at this, just our knights list. This joker down at the bottom, the knight list that we have been able to mobilize. Something else, they're still putting in very, very good numbers. They're still putting in very good numbers. Gilla Emoin, or Adamoin, or Adamnoin. It's a difficult name to pronounce. There's Coin Adamnoin, which is one of the kind of the important laws from this time period. And it's I find it a difficult one to pronounce. Fergal of Arguilla. You absolute divils. Congus, we've had Congus as a name of the Fiocruk, has popped up in the past. I'm not too sure, is this the guy? Somebody has bought a claim to the Brainenomicon. Somebody's trying to take the Brainenomicon off of us. So there you go. The Battle of Meath, probably one of the largest conflicts that we have seen in terms of knights and numbers, even bigger than some of those battles against men. Ugh, dear Lord, the levy numbers. Oh, the levy numbers. God help us, the levy numbers. So here is Artgoyle. He gains recently tortured. We're going to try and siege back down Meath. I'd be hoping that some forces... Are they all going to just stay where we are? Is this one of our wives? It is indeed. I was very scared that it might be one of our wife in Which one are you? We say as we arrive at our dying wife's bedchamber. So we married her pretty much for the intelligent trait. This woman popped up at one stage. There was a pop-up when we were in France, and it was all very, very distracting. She's a murderer. We discovered that she killed Ernmagarda. But it popped up and I couldn't actually find who it was, and I got totally confused. And then there was battles, and then Connacht invaded. So our wife has died. I believe this is enough to throw us into a critical level of stress, and she actually died in childbirth. So we had married her for that quick trait, and it has claimed her life and the life of our daughter. We have become overwhelmed by stress. We could convert, but it looks like we are going to become reclusive. We will take the extra 25 stress and we will try and hunt and party our way out of this terror. We have Connacht cornered. Connacht, once we get this battle done, I am going to go over and bait the living daylights out of you. Actually, do you know what? I'm not even going to wait for that. We will station besiegers, and this is the awkward thing now. I have to put you in charge of the army, the 130, the way that I can come to the main army and put you in charge of it, and then come back to the smaller army and assign... Oh god, how do I do this? So Austin will take charge of that army, and we will take our larger army and we will send them to hunt down Connacht. Connacht looks like it has given up and is about to give battle. We have lifted the siege of Meath, so we can move those forces in as well. Connacht looks like it hasn't given up. Hopefully we'll catch them anyway. We have indeed. And who is commanding the army? Broen himself. We're seeing Connacht's forces returning. one of our knights, it looks like, was wounded. And there you go, at the Battle of Evonia. Broen has been taken hostage. This war has come to an end. And we have a decision to make. Down into our dungeons we go, and what fun this is! Oh, what fun. What fun this is. The first thing we will do is... So it's actually Falve, who has purchased that claim on the Brainenomicon. We will torture him. So I would like to imagine that we are, as we are whipping him, we are reading him pages from the Brainenomicon. It didn't have to be done, but we have done it anyway. The next thing we will do is we will go to our prison. Here is Fergal of Arguilla. Fergal of Arguilla is somebody different to who I thought he was. So Fergal, I'm afraid to say, you're also getting a baiting. Oh, the sweet kiss of the whip. We're having great old fun with that whip. So we could... We've learned a secret. We have learned a secret. That's not much good to us, I don't think. He could become a lunatic. I'm not quite done with you yet. We'll put him back in there to stew, and we will finally arrive over at our courtiers list. Our prisoners, Petty King Broen. I know full well what this is going to do. I know full well what this is going to do. The jailer drags a panicked Petty King Broen, not for much longer, into the room. Please, I will do anything you want, he protests. Or his protests are cut short, as the jailer gags him and ties him down on the table. Oh, Broen, I sigh theatrically. You and I never quite so eye to eye. But on the bright side, I have finally decided how to rectify the situation. Oh yes, this will hurt. So you can see that we have now dropped from 100% to 85% because, of course, we have... he's been released from the prison. He's actually still remaining on as king. I thought we would actually end up having him deposed. But it doesn't make much of a difference. I actually had that army parked there and it hasn't been doing anything. I thought we were maybe sieging that area down, but we actually weren't. We're going to move out and give them battle in Arguilla. They're trying to take back Armagh. We might actually just pause here for a second to let the forces catch up a bit. I don't think that helped in any way, make, shape or form, but yeah, we'll be going in one after the other. They're starting to pull back out of this region, but again, our knights should give us a tremendous advantage. Lachlan's wife has passed away. We will wait just for people to get in a bit closer. We look to have an advantage. It is, again, the battle is being commanded by the Prince of Gwynedd, their great commander, who hasn't had a victory to his name yet. Accusations of sorcery. Accusations of sorcery against this man. In my last playthrough, we got a couple of these, but I've never seen this option. This is fantastic. Stage an elaborate execution. We'll gain 100 prestige, and he'll gain 50 opinion of us, because we stage an elaborate execution, but in reality, we sneak him back into our court, and you can imagine what is going to be done with this man almost instantaneously. I don't think I can actually do it. I probably can do it in that window. Our court physician, Moore, has done tremendous work for us in the past, but there you go. That man is going in as our new court physician. we might go back to the prison, and while we're here, we'll ransom you, and we'll torture you again. Oh, we can't torture him for another while. Well, we'll leave you there until we can torture you again for stealing that book off of me. Let's win this war. More prisoners. We have a Welsh Catholic mayor in our prison. We could ransom him out for 30 gold. Let's torture him. And we get some more prowess. We're having great fun with that old whip. Something I actually noticed as well and forgot about there a couple of seconds ago. It's telling us we have no available spouses to serve in the court. I find that unlikely. We're not really in a position to marry anyone at the moment. We're going to march on Balfiadach. So we're at 98%, and the worst thing that could happen at the moment is that we could actually win one of these battles. We are on the verge of running out of knights, however. We're not in a great position. We're not doing great in the siege of this area. I think what we will just do is possibly go back in against Connacht's army. We could try to siege down Balnaradi, but the handy thing about doing this, and you know what we're going to do? We'll test out his new prowess. We'll test out his new prowess. It's a tiny army. What could go wrong? I think Arthur would want to be the man that that stamps his name on this final victory. Now, the only thing is we might get hit with some penalties going into bogs, but again, we might suffer some attrition. There you go. Look where the devils are leading us on a merry little dance. Are they trying to bankrupt us? They're doing a good job of it. Are they waiting for us to run out of for our mercenaries to run out? It's entirely possible it's going to succeed. We might actually have to split the armies. My god, we caught them eventually, and here he is, the man who is going to become the new ruler of the region on his brother's death. At the moment, I was expecting that he'd actually inherit after we managed to blind his brother. Absolute devilment. Absolute devilment, the lot of you. Congus. Welcome to the dungeon. 3 years that battle took. 3 years. And look at the consequences that they have had for Browan. Blinded for his treachery. He'll pay us 82 gold, and we will gain 95 prestige. Was it worth it, Browan? Was it worth it? We will enforce our demands. Greetings, cousin. May the humours rot in your living body. I know when I am defeated. He can see the writing on the wall. So be it. Fado in Erin. Well, about 20 years ago. Well, Breitha created a battle axe and gifted it to Fergal, who is now sitting in our dungeons, and we have taken the axe from him. And as you can imagine, we have equipped it. Here's the Brainenomicon. We have a claimant, a new claimant to it. Falva, who's in our dungeon. He's going to be sitting there for a while. He's getting another dose of the whip. That's what he's getting when we have time to administer it. We have 100% dread. We have 100% dread. Congus is actually waiting for us to unpause the game. The way he can get some torture. We'll ransom this lad. We'd get 50 from Felva, but I want to keep him there for another while. This guy is stone useless, really. I think Arthur, in his anger and rage, is probably going to let the rest stew in the prison for a while. Before we deal with poor Congus, let's do a couple of things. Let's finish off this wealth focus. Vassal tax contribution or war profiteer. We're going to go for the vassal tax. Are we going to go for the vassal tax contribution? We're going to go for the vassal tax contribution. Our knights are going to be delisting or unlisting at some stage. Here we can see a lot of people who are in our prisons. Was that the leader of the... Died of natural causes? Well, there you go. He had one last trip and a big heap of battles before passing away from natural causes. He was the commander of the Isles, the army of the Isles that we brought in. So died a happy man. Here's some smaller battles that we had. Mordo commanding. And Mordo has done tremendous work. He's shoving up in years. I haven't actually seen any great numbers from Tohul. Tohul, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And the Duke of Normandy. Like I said, the Duke of Normandy having absolutely a tremendous time after we fighting against him. Glad he doesn't hold it against us. Maybe he can't tell one Irish person from another and he's just glad to be in here fighting. Okay, this is a guy from North Riding, but he's just glad to be fighting against Connacht or Munster. Constantine, as you can see, the envelope is gone from the top of the page. Constantine, for his bravery, for his actions and dedication, has been nominated as our successor. He's only a couple of years younger than us. I don't even know where the hell he is now, because of course Dol Clua, the Duchy of Meath, has actually collapsed. So here we are. We're 53, but the Duchy of Meath doesn't exist anymore. I don't actually think we're in a position to form it. We have a claim to it. We have a claim to it. Oh no, it still exists, but it's the secondary title to Dol Clua, so all that has amalgamated into one. Strangely enough, we have a claim on Meath, and more than likely, that is what we are going to do in the next episode. Meath came to our defense. Meath helped us. But other than declaring war on these guys, they are in a bad position at the moment. And we actually... Oh yes, that's right. They're allied to England. I forgot about that. Now I remember. There's a reason that we've been trying to get this over and done with quickly. Yeah, so it's going to be Meath. We can't attack Connacht, but Connacht's treachery cannot go unrewarded. Connacht's constant treachery cannot go unrewarded. I was looking at Connacht becoming a strong and stable vassal within the kingdom when it gets formed, but I don't think so. So there you go. By the skin of our teeth, we have managed to survive the wars in France, and we have managed to survive the greatest threat to our kingdom to date. But Connacht and its alliance, its strong alliance into the north of England, is going to cause us a tremendous, tremendous amount of trouble. Thank you for helping me to torture people on this episode, and I hope you will help me to torture more people on the next one. Rats. Ooh.